Welcome back to this video series of creating PHP documents and understanding PHP documents. So in the previous video we kind of discussed what variables are, and we kind of dug into a basic understanding of how to use variables and declaring variables at the top of the PHP document and then using it inside of our PHP document. So we played around by creating a variable, and we also created some string values that we played out. So in this video, we're kind of going to discuss what is local and global scope variables, and this is very much the same for any kind of programming language out there, where PHP just makes it a bit easier for you to understand and know the local and global scope of variables. Now, and I'm going to repeat myself. So if I repeat myself, that's just my way of making sure that you understand in this video tutorial. So local and global scope. Now, any kind of variable is declared outside the function, and when that happens, where you declare something outside of the function, it is called a global scope, and it can only be accessed outside of that specific function. Now, a variable declared within a function has or is called a local scope. Now, with a local scope, it's quite important to know and understand that a local scope, you can only be accessed within that specific function. So global scope can be accessed outside of that function, and with a local scope can only accessed within that specific function. Now, what we're going to do to understand this more and to get this more going, we are, going to play around with what is global scopes and what is a local scope. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my browser and just see what we have and what we've done. So I'm just going to open this up, and then I'm going to go to our test site. Oh, it's typed it wrong there. There we go. So I'm just kind of quickly determining why my specific page is not showing up. So I'm just going into my local folder, just checking that we have created our instances over here. So we just need to check what is going on here, why it's not displaying the way that we want it to be, wanted to display. Okay, so it's displaying over here, which is great. So we're not going to worry about this browser over here. So I'm just going to open up this other browser, and you can see that we created an HTML page, and when we go to the PHP folder, it's not working as great. So I'm just going to check what is going on here. Yeah, this is not what we created today. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and reset my my server right here. So okay, so I got it working, and if you look at my link, we created this. Yes, we created this in the previous video. We went. This is a fallback page. Please wait for rerouting. We created like a refresh, but we had some issues with that, which is fine. In later videos, we're gonna kind of have a look at using PHP to do rerouting on an HTML page. So we kind of created basic variables here, and if I go ahead and I open up my document, so I'm just going to put this here. If I open up my my actual coding that we wrote yesterday, you will see that we created our content at the top, and I'm just going to close this all and redo it. So I went and declared my content at the top and my variables at the top, and we went and used it inside of the actual page. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and I'm going to show you a couple of examples how to get using PHP local variables and global variables. Now, the first thing that we're going to write, and I want you to follow me when I'm writing this, is we're going to go and create a new page. And basically, no, I don't want to create it that way. We're actually going to go into pages and we're going to go create a new page, and we are going to call it local. We can just call it local, and this is going to reflect to our local scope. So I'm going to call it local.php, and I'm going to copy that and paste it, and I'm just going to rename it and call it global.php. Now, basically, what we're going to do is we're going to write a code. We're first going to play around with local scope, and we are going to have a look at what's the differences between the variables with local and global scope, and then we're going to use the other page as well. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to write our first function, and we're going to do it as follows. So I'm going to go back to my Notepad++, and I'm going to open up local. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all this stuff that we've written in index.php. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it over. Now, what I'm going to do then, once I've done that, is I'm going to remove the PHP section, and I'm going to remove all my content as well, so that we have a clean slate that we are going to work on. So I'm just going to hit save here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to start using our PHP. Now, we are not going to declare it at the top. We're just basically going to use it inside of our body tag for now. So I'm going to go ahead and create it there. Now, always remember the important thing about PHP is the opening and the closing tags. And when we use open tags, you know, we always got to make sure that's is used correctly, and the closing tags are used correctly. So what we're going to do is we're gonna go ahead and open it up, go PHP, and we're gonna close the PHP tags. So now we've got to open and we've got to close. Okay, in this we are going to basically write our function. So I'm going to go ahead and create a function, and we're going to do this by going function, because we're declaring a function here. Oh, it's not typing out. Let's see what's happening. There we go. So I'm just going to type function, and I'm going to write, I'm going to give the function a name, so I'm going to call it my test. And then basically, before we do this, I'm first going to create a global scope. Now, we can go create a global scope variable by doing the following. We can go $x equals 5, and then I'm just going to write a comment there. I'm going to say this is my global scope. Okay. Oh, global, a global scope. Okay. So now I created a function, and now we're actually going to open up the function, and inside of the function, we are going to go $y equals 10. Okay. Now this is my local scope. Okay, and basically what I've done now is I've created a global scope and a local scope. So let's go and populate this function a bit more, because we went and we created a $y which equals to 10, but we haven't done anything yet. We also created a global scope with x equals 5. We also haven't done anything yet. So we are going to go ahead and continue with that. So I'm gonna go and let's start off by writing an echo. So we're gonna say echo, and then we're gonna put in a p for paragraph, and we're just gonna say test var inside of the function. Okay, I'm gonna put that in, and I'm going to close my paragraphs. Okay, so I've got to open and a closing paragraph. This is going to be echo, so it's just basically a string it's echoing. Now I'm going to add echo var x is, and basically what I'm going to do then is put in $x, and I'm going to close my my quotation marks. So basically what we're going now is we're going, okay, well, variable x, which we've declared in the global sequence, is 5, right? So but we're going to echo var x equals x because we're declaring it inside of the specific function. And then we're going to go and add another echo, which is just basically a break. So br. And then we're going to go echo var y is $y. Okay, and basically what we're doing now is we're going to go, okay, well, variable y equals y that we've declared inside of the function. So that is the function in essence, and that is what we're going to do for now with our function. Now you would see that this whole function, like I said, and I'm repeating myself again, this is the local scope, and just above it we're declaring a global scope. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to write the following. We're going to write the actual function out. So we're going to say my test, and then we are going to go echo dollars, dollar sign. We're going to quotation mark. We're going to open the P. We're going to close the P, and then basically we're going to write test var outside of the function walls. Nope, function walls. Okay, and then we're going to close our quotation marks, and we are going to go, okay, well, echo quotation mark var x is $x, and then we're going to close the quotation marks, and then we're going to go echo. So we're basically writing the same that we wrote inside of our function, and we're going to see what the result to, right? So we're going to go echo, and then we're just going to put in a br, close the quotation marks, and then we're going to go echo var y is $y, close the quotation marks. Oh, I've already done that. Okay, so now basically what we've done is inside of our scope, our local scope, we went and declared a y, okay, and we said, okay, well, that y needs to be 10. We then said we then echoed a paragraph, and in that paragraph we echoed a string that says test var inside of the function, and then we echoed, well, var x is, and then x, which x is a global scope, which is at the top, which is 5, so it's going to be var x is 5, and then we go, okay, well, break, which is enter, so I'm just going to write there enter, or return. Okay, and then we said, well, var y is y, which is 10. So we go x is 5 and y is 10. Now that is inside of our function. Now we went and we wrote out the actual function. That means that it's going to display, right? Then we went echo test var outside of the function walls, which is basically the global variable, right? So I'm just gonna put in global there so that we know that we are using the global variable, which is displayed at the top. So we go to echo var x is x, and that is once again x, which is at the top, global. I won't want you to get confused with this. Then we went br, which is once again enter or return. And then we said, well, okay, var y is y. Okay, we're going to see if this actually works or not. So I'm going to hit save. And what we want to do then is we want to test and see if this is actually working in our in our browser, right? Because what we've just done, we need to go and check if it's actually working. So I'm just firing up my my browser to check if this is actually working. So before we actually go ahead and double and check if it's working, we need to go through everything and make sure that everything is 100%. So basically, we wrote the function here at the top. We are echoing our relevant relevant sequences. So I'm just gonna save that. Okay, so this is the results that we're getting at the moment. So you can see that we don't have anything that's displaying, which means that what we've written is not displaying correctly. So I'm going to open up the browser like this. I'm going to drag this one side. And now basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double check what we've done. Okay, so I just had a little syntax error right there. What I've done is, let me just get this on the screen so that everyone can see it. Basically what I've done is I've rewritten this out quick, posed you guys, and just went through everything and make sure that everything is displaying that we need to display. So I actually want you to have a look at, this is the part that we wrote out, and this is the part that I rewritten. And I actually want you to have a look at this, pause me right here, and I want you to check where is that specific error. So in the next video, we are going to look at, okay, where was the error, where was the error, and then we're going to go ahead and correct that. Welcome back. And in the previous video, we kind of chat about and we created a page where we had a look at local variables and we had a look at global scope variables. What we also did is we kind of went ahead and created our relevant code, which is relevant towards either a local instance or a global instance. We also went and we saw that we got an error, and I actually went and checked why we have the error, and it wasn't our code, but actually my server. So eventually I got it working, and that's why I am getting back to you on that. So in this video, we're kind of going to discuss a bit more about local and global variables. We're going to go play around and kind of get, that more customizable and to ourselves to make sure that we understand what exactly we want out of our local and global variables. Now, we're also going to have a look at PHP the global keyword, and we're gonna chat about that, and PHP the static keyword, which is also very important when we chat about variables. Now the thing is, when we look at our code, and this is what I wanted to, I wanted to continue chatting about the code that we've just created, and just chat in general about it. So the first thing is that we need to chat about is what we've created here. The first thing though that we've done here is we kind of said, okay, well, X, right at the top we went and created a global variable. I just want to zoom in there a bit. Okay, so right at the top there we created a global scope variable. I'm just going to put that right there. A global scope variable, and we said, okay, well, x equals 5, right? And then we were like, okay, well, that is our global variable. Then we went ahead and created a function test. Now, in the function test, Oh, we created a function called myTest, and in the myTest function, we kind of opened up our function, and we kind of went and established the function. We kind of established what it's about, right? So what we established, oh, my mouse is screwing around a bit there. There we go. So in the function, we kind of went, okay, well, this function has got y equals 10, which is our local scope, and when echo this variable is inside of our function, we also then went, okay, well, echo variable x is x, okay? And basically what we wanted to do is kind of reference x towards our global variable, and then we went and echoed variable y equals y, which is in our local variable and our local scope. And then once we've done our function, we went and pronounced it by saying my test, and then we went, okay, well, echo test variable outside of the function. We went variable x is equal to x, which is outside right there at the top, and then we said variable y, which is inside of our local scope. So that is basically what we did in the code, and the results that we got was quite interesting, because the results kind of showed us that, you know, wait a minute, you know, there's a big difference between local and global scopes, right? So basically what we did, I just want to get that a bit. Just get rid of this thing. So basically what we did, we kind of went, okay, I'm just going to put this right next to each other so that we can see what's going on here. So we said test variable inside of the function, and it's exactly the same there, test inside of the function. Just gonna put it like that. And then once we've done that, we said, okay, well, variable x inside of our local scope is x, which is outside. You can see it's not showing, and the reason for that, why it's not showing, is because you know, that is referencing inside of the function, and the function, which is the local scope, cannot access the global scope variable. And you can see the same with variable y equals 10. The reason why it is like that, because of the local scope is defined inside of that function. So the next one, it says test variables outside of the function, and there you can see it can define x, but then it cannot define y. So this shows in both manners. You get variable x, which cannot be seen with inside the local scope, and variable y, which can be seen only inside of the local scope and not of the outer scope. Okay, so that was basically the variables, and that's kind of what we had a look at. So the next thing that we're going to chat about, and let's wrap up with this, and then we move on. So in this example that we've just written out, there are two variables. Like I said, I'm going through this because we need to make sure that we understand this. Because if you don't get this now, then you won't be able to do PHP at all, or any other programming language. So what we've done is we created x and y, and the function myTest. Okay. Now x is a global variable. Okay, and number x is in line 10. X is a global variable since it is declared outside of the function. Y is a local variable since it is declared and created inside of a function. Now, when we output the values of the two variables inside the myTest function, it prints the value of y as it is inside the locally declared, but cannot print the value of x since it is created outside of the, that's right, function. Okay, now then when we output the value of the two variables outside the myTest function, it prints the value of x, but cannot print the value of y. Why? Why? Since it is a local variable and it is created inside the myTest function. Very, very, very important. Now, you can have local variables with the same name in different functions because local variables are only recognized by the function in which they are declared. So we can have multiple functions here, myTest1, myTest2, myTest3, with a variable of whatever, a declaration of y a couple of times inside of the function. You can have that. You won't have any clash because it's not defined by the actual words. It's defined by the actual function. So always make sure that your function name is unique. Okay. Now let's chat about something else. Let's chat about the global keyword, the PHP global keyword. Now, the PHP global keyword is used to access a global variable from within a function. Okay? So it's getting confusing now, I know, but let's try and keep up with me. So we're going to this use a global keyword before the variable inside the function. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up our global.php, and I'm just going to write out the basics. I want you to follow up with me because we're going to go and write a global keyword inside of a function, because we know that inside of a function is normal locally, right? But there's a way of using the global keyword to kind of get that local variable instance in a global perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and write doc type. Well, you know what? I'm just going to save us some time, we're just going to do this. There we go. And then we just close our body tags. And then we just close our HTML tags. Okay, I'm just going to write, in the title, I'm going to go global keyword. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to start off by creating very much similar to what we've created before, but in essence we are going to go ahead and create a local function with a global instance inside of it. So I'm just going to get some more space for us to work with here. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to open up my PHP, and right at the bottom, I'm going to close my PHP. Get used to kind of, giving yourself some space, because that can get confusing, right? You want to give yourself some space, and that is quite important for PHP, especially when you are in the beginning of PHP. So what we're going to do is we've opened our PHP and we've closed our PHP, and now we're going to start writing our PHP code. And basically what we want to do is we want to kind of make sure that our PHP is in the correct manner. So we're going to go and define a global variable, right? So we're going to go $x equals, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it straightforward. So I'm just going to call it 5 again. I'm going to go $y again, and then I'm going to go and equal $y to 10. Okay, now that is our global spec right there. So I'm just going to put in a comment and just type in global spec. Okay, and I'm just going to write it right there. End of global spec. Okay, now we know that our start and our finish of that global spec is right inside of that. Now we're going to go ahead and write a function. I'm going to call this function my local scope. Okay, and then so once again, that section where we call my local scope, that can be anything, right? It doesn't need to be something that is defined. It's defined by the name you give it, right? So basically, I'm just going to open that up a bit more, and now we're going to go and use the global keyword because we want, in essence, this is the result that I want. I want to go ahead and go $y equals $x plus $y. Okay. The reason why we want to do that is because we want to use the global scope variables inside of the local scope. So how are we going to do that? We're going to define it by going global, and then we go $x, comma $y. So now we went and we took the global specification and we inserted it into the local spec. Okay, quite important. Now what we do though is we're gonna go, okay, well let's pronounce our function name. So we're gonna go my local scope, and we are going to add echo $y, and we're gonna go output 15, because that's the end result, right? So we know what the end results are, so that's why I'm just going outputs 15. So we're just going to save this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to navigate with our browser towards our saved data. So I'm just going to go do that now. I'm just going to write here. I'm just going to write here, this is our result. So I'm having a bit of issues with my personal server, and it's not showing up at all, which while we give it a while, it will definitely show up. So I'm just going to open it up over here and see what happens when we do pages/local.php. Okay, so that is definitely showing up, and if we go and we remove this and we write down global, because we want to try and access the global.php folder, it's giving us a blank. Quite interesting. Oh, I can actually see the error right there. Let's see what happens now. There we go. So it's showing us the result is 15. And if I go and refresh the other page that I had, it will show us the same as well. So we can see now in this example is that, you know, you've got a global specification right at the top, and we are using that to feed it into the function, which is a local, and I'm just gonna write there local scope. And you know, we're feeding it into this local scope, and then we are echoing it out again. Quite interesting, and it's quite a great way of showing that. Okay, so that was looking at PHP, the global keywords. Now, that is how we can use the global keyword. Now I'm going to show you another example of how we also do this. Now PHP also stores all global variables in any array called $global index. Okay, so the index holds the name of the variable. Now the array is also accessible from within the function and can be used to update global variables directly. Now let me show you an example to kind of show you what I'm talking about. At the moment, you don't know what I'm talking about. So let's go, and this is a different way of doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this PHP coding. I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna put it right at the top. Okay, because we've done a previous PHP code this way, but it's just you know, so that we know the declaration is in the top, and then these two guys I'm going to cut out, and in the body tag I'm going to go and create my PHP, and I'm going to put what we need to call up. I'm going to put over there. So if we call it up again, it will show it correctly because you're declaring at the top and you are pronouncing it right here in the bottom. So the next step that we're going to do is I'm going to show you a different way of doing what we've just done in a different manner, right? And that's what we're going to do now. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to work right at the top. So right at the top, I want you to go and write the following. So so inside of our PHP, we're gonna go, okay, well, $. Okay, we're going to go and create a new function, because the reason why we want to create another function is because we've already went and declared x and y equals 10. So we're just going to go and use that. So we're going to go and create this function, and we're going to call it something else. We're going to go expanded local scope. I'm just giving it a name. You can name it whatever you want it to call. You can call it whatever you want. That's what I wanted to say. So you can go $globals, and then you can go and write the following. So we're going to go globals, and we're going to say y, and then right at the end we're going to go equals $globals, and then we are going to write x. Then we're going to go plus, okay, $globals. Oh, and inside of that plus, we're going to say y. Okay, so basically, once we've done that, we're going to go and define, or we're going to go and we are going to go and pronounce that inside of the actual body tags. So in our body tags, we're going to go ahead and declare that specific function that we've just created. So we're going to go and write the following. We're going to go. So we're just going to write the same that we did here with local scope. So I'm just going to go right at the end. I'm just going to put in a BR so that we can, and I'm going to put in an HR as well. So horizontal line. I'm just going to put an HR right at the top of these guys as well. And I'm going to put a HR right at the bottom of these guys so that we can work inside of it and we know what is the difference between them. So I'm going to go ahead and write expanded local scope, because I'm just basically calling up this section right here at the top. So I'm going to say expand local scope, and once I've done that, we are going to go, okay, well, we're going to go, okay, echo $y. Okay, I'm going to save this, and if all goes well, we will have a fantastic looking little function going on here. So I kind of figured out what the issue was, and the issue was that we didn't subdivide our HTML inside of our PHP. So I kind of went and just added quotation marks so that whatever is inside of the quotation marks with the HR would be seen as something that is not part of PHP. So I just kind of went and added that out for now. So we can actually go ahead and write echo in front of it, and when we write that, it's going to actually pronounce that. So if we go to our page and we were to refresh, it will show that for us. So if I go test_3, and then we type /pages global.php. And you see it's showing that at the moment because it's showing line number 46 for us, and line number 39, which is 15, and the other result, which is also supposed to actually be 15. So because in the top of this function we said, okay, well, y equals x plus y. So x plus y is 15. Okay. So I'm just going to drag this over here, and I'm just going to. So the output should be 15. The output currently is showing us 20. The reason for that is because we are combining it together, and it's actually picking up the y over here, and it's actually picking up the y with the local scope. So what we're going to do now in the next video is we're going to concentrate on getting getting a PHP this static keyword and kind of working with a static keyword. Welcome back to the video. Now in the previous video we had a look at we had a look at global and local kind of scopes. We kind of look at using the global keyword in one way and also using global keyword in another way. The first one was quite easy and simple. The second one was a bit more complicated, and it didn't really show us exactly what we wanted it to be. So now we are kind of looking at PHP the static keyword. Now normally when a function is completed and or executed, all of its visible variables are deleted. However, sometimes we want a local variable not to be deleted with the need for a further job. So to explain this, we're going to use the static keyword when we first declare the variable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and copy the top section again from our previous documents, so that we don't need to redo that section. And then we're going to close the body tag, and we're going to close the HTML tag. Now inside of the body tag, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up our PHP, and we're going to start creating a function for us to work with. Now before we do that, I just need to save this as a static. I'm just going to call it static PHP. I'm just going to save it just like that. And then inside of our PHP, we're going to write the following. So we're going to go, once we've opened our PHP, we're going to go and create a function. And in the function, I'm just going to call it my test again. And I'm going to open up the function. And I'm going to basically write static. Inside of the function, I'm going to write static $x equals 0. And I'm going to close that down. I'm going to write echo $x, okay, and then I'm going to write $x plus plus. Okay, because now we're starting to work with loops here, and we'll get into more detail with what this is all about in the couple of videos. But I just want you to have a look at that for now. I just forgot to put a semicolon at the end there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go my test, and we're going to write again my test, and then we're going to write it again my test. Okay, I'm going to save this, and if we run this up, oh, we will get 0, 1, and 2. Now, what we did though is, let's chat about what we've done and this, and what we've just done, right? So now, basically, what we did is, each time the function is called, the variable will still have the information that is contained from the last time, and what the function then was called the last time. Basically, what we did though is we started at we said, okay, well, x equals 0, and we kind of went, okay, well, echo x, but I want x to increment, okay? So, and so increment each time that it gets, it gets pulled up. So it goes 0, 1, and 2. So if we go and we change this value to 6, you would see that our values would be 6, 7, and 8. I'll just drag that over for you to have a look at. If we were to go in and change the increment to a decrement, you would see that we will go in the opposite direction. So we would go 6, 5, and 4. So we kind of we're touching base on what is called a loop, and playing around with that by using a static keyword as well. So I don't want you to get confused. I just want you to play around with what we've learned in this video and what you've learned in the previous video, and we can then take it from there and build on that. So the next video we are kind of going to look at we understand and we know the basics behind variables. So the next thing that we're going to chat about is the echo and print function. Now the echo, we've already done this and we've used echo a lot of times, but in the next video I'm going to explain to you in more detail what it is all about.